This video will be a bit different than my usual fare. Yes, there will be the expected highly informative and entertaining content, but at the end there will also be an amazing opportunity to win a brand new piece of audio gear. So please stick around for that and don't bail out halfway through, and no fast forwarding. You may have heard me waffling on in previous videos about the joys of owning turntables and records, or even how awesome hunting and collecting records can be. And if you've been feeling a bit vinyl curious, but not sure how to get started, this episode may be just the thing for you. Perhaps you've been hearing a lot of stories in the media about the vinyl record resurgence over the past few years. And you may even have some friends who are really into buying records. And you're beginning to warm to the idea. So you can join your friends at the record store. And maybe you're thinking, where do I even start? From my perspective, too many would-be vinyl enthusiasts are not taking enough care in choosing the all-important device that plays their beloved vinyls. These individuals will spend many hundreds or thousands of dollars amassing a vinyl collection and then play them on a $50 record player. You know, those nasty suitcase-style players with a built-in speaker that you find at a discount department store. Why do people do that? I figure it must go back to their childhood. You remember, like, when a kid says he or she wants to learn to play guitar, and the parents go out and buy the cheapest model they can find because they understand that the odds are that little Jimmy or Courtney will very likely lose interest in learning after a few weeks or months. Now, if they're still playing and showing enthusiasm after a year or so, then upgrading to a better instrument makes sense. You are no longer a kid, so act like an adult. You may say something like, but what if I lose interest in records after only a few months? Then I won't have wasted money on a more expensive turntable that I'm not using, right? Well, my rebuttal is the chances that you will lose interest in records are much, much higher if you're not thrilled with the sound and experience that you spent good money on. And you're like, man, I don't get what everyone's all excited about. Spotify through my AirPods sounds way better. So I'm saying up front, get something considerably better than what you find in a box stacked in the aisle at Walmart. I suggest that once you decide to commit, you should consider record collecting more of a long-term proposition and a lifestyle, not just a fad that you'll forget about in a few months. A new record costs at least $20, so why spend only $50 or $100 on a record player? It doesn't make much sense to me. It's very likely that investing, let's say, $500 on a turntable will be peanuts compared to what you'll spend buying records over the next couple of years. Turntables and records require a degree of time and effort to figure it all out at first. It's not about convenience, but once you get your stuff sorted out, I'm confident that the pleasure and enjoyment you'll get from playing records will be superior to using Spotify, Tidal, or Apple Music. So you may be thinking, okay, smart guy, what do you suggest? Well, I'd say the first option to consider is going for something vintage, you know, like from the 70s or 80s. I know there are a good number of individuals out there who will exclaim, ew! I don't want a dusty, moldy, and creaky old turntable that probably is on its last legs. It has no warranty, made by a company that no longer exists and can't service it. Well, you make some legitimate points, but it's really not that difficult to find a clean and functional vintage turntable for not a lot of money. Where I live, there's plenty of older, decent models for like $100 or $200, and if you can stretch it to $500, you can get really something classic and good. I suggest a Japanese or European brand from the 1970s or early 80s. Now, the 70s was the period when every manufacturer was making turntables, and it was a super competitive market. And from my experience, most were excellent and had useful features, were easy to use, and were well built. The early 80s were also great, but as the decade progressed and CD players became popular, mainstream turntables started to get kind of cheap and flimsy. I'd say stick with Japanese brands. They're the safest bet, unless they were really neglected or mistreated. And I would rate Technics as the top vintage brand, as they are abundant in numbers, and their reliability is unmatched. They were like the Toyota of turntables. As a value proposition, a clean vintage turntable will be better engineered and built than most anything you get brand new for the same money. It's simple as that. An older used turntable may need a new cartridge or stylus, as they are the part that is the most vulnerable to wear and damage. How much you spend on a cartridge could range from $50 to sky's the limit, but I would recommend starting out around $100 to $150. And don't cheap out. How good your records sound greatly depends on the quality of the cartridge. Going this route has a catch. It will require you to invest some time and effort learning how to properly mount a phono cartridge and balance a tone arm. Now, YouTube's your friend in this regard. There are many instructional videos on ownership and setup. Turntables are very cool devices that you can really geek out on if you're so inclined. But you may be saying, no. After hearing all that, I know that is definitely not for me. I want something brand new, modern, serviceable with a warranty. I'm not ready to do all that. I just want to play records. Okay, there are plenty of options out there for the turntable newbie who just wants to get started. I would honestly suggest that you spend at least $500 for your first new turntable. Why? Because that will most likely ensure that your experience will be a positive one with fewer compromises. And you're not going to want to buy a new one after a short period of time. Get a real turntable, not a toy. Now, there are plenty of popular brands out there that offer good entry-level products. I don't have hands-on experience with every one of these models, but I'm very familiar with the different brands and the reputations for making quality stuff. I have a couple of entry-level turntables here to show you that I do have experience with. First up, I have the U-Turn Orbit Special. It's a belt drive model that retails for $499. And it includes a decent Ortophone 2M red cartridge, a plinth made from solid layers of real plywood, not laminated MDF, and included cueing lever and an acrylic platter. Now, this unit has the optional built-in phono preamp. That's an extra $70. More on that later. Also, they're assembled in Massachusetts, USA, rather than over in Asia. The printed directions are very clear and easy to understand. The cartridge is pre-mounted and the tone arm is already balanced. I do like the thick felt mat and the clear acrylic platter. Now, this platter has an inverted bearing, which I don't see very often. The tone arm looks pretty robust with the counterweight that has a thumb screw to lock it in place. Now, the motor is mounted on some kind of flexible suspension, but I did find it to be a bit noisy. Also, I found the belt to be tricky to get around the platter and the motor pulley. This particular belt seemed too large and repeatedly fell off. Eventually, I got it to stay on, but it took way too long to do that. Did I do something wrong? I did try it while using the built-in preamp and plugged it directly into a line input of my name amp, bypassing the puff-in phono preamp. I have to say, either way, the U-Turn Orbit Special sounded very good playing the Patti Smith Horses album. In my opinion, the Ortophone red cartridge is fine, but I do find it to be prone to some sibilance with high frequencies. I also have the Triangle Turntable, which I featured in a video a few months ago, linked below. This is badged as a triangle, but it's actually made by ProJect, as you can see by the dust cover. It's a very reputable Austrian-based manufacturer. Currently priced at $4.99, this product does have a laminated MDF plinth. It's pretty lightweight compared to the U-turn, which feels a bit heavier. I do think it looks stylish in white with the black tone arm and the power switch mounted discreetly on the left side. The platter on the triangle is made from laminated MDF rather than acrylic, and the mat is made of a thinner type of felt. This has a conventional bearing where the shaft is mounted to the underside of the platter and is inserted into the metal housing in the plinth. The straight black tone arm also has a locking counterweight, but it needs a tool to loosen and tighten it. And the pre-mounted cartridge is the evergreen Ortofon OM10E. The belt on the triangle was also a little challenging to get around the motor pulley and the rim of the platter, but it wasn't nearly as a horrible experience as on the U-turn Orbit Special. Sound quality through my system produced nice results with the Patti Smith album as well, but due to the different Ortofon cartridge, the sound was good, but not quite as resolving as the U-turn to my ears. From my perspective, both turntables are great choices for budding vinyl enthusiasts who are not interested in going the pre-owned route and all that's involved with that. Head-to-head, the U-turn Orbit Special is a better value with the superior cartridge, acrylic platter, and nice real wood plinth. You can also pay a bit more and get the switchable built-in phono preamp. The triangle is very good as well. The areas where it falls a bit short, to me, is that it feels a bit less robust than the Orbit Special. And the Ortofon OM10 cartridge is not quite as clear and dynamic compared to the red. Now here is where I tell you about the My Own Devices audio channel giveaway drawing. I will be giving away the triangle turntable to someone for free. The unit is virtually brand new, as I've only used it very little just for evaluation purposes. These are the conditions for the giveaway drawing. Firstly, you must be over 18 and a resident of the USA. Secondly, you must be a patron of this channel through Patreon. That requires that you use the link below and sign up as a patron for a mere $3 for 30 days of access. In 10 days from the day this video goes up, I will draw a name at random and then ship this nice triangle turntable to you for free of charge, securely in its own original box. That's it. Hey, and you can cancel your Patreon membership after the drawing if you wish. Although, I'm not sure why anyone would do such a thing. I mean, $3 a month is incredibly reasonable, and you get early and ad-free access to new videos, as well as some exclusive content. Imagine not having to watch the numerous annoying ads that YouTube subjects you to. Hey you, yes, you with the awesome taste in YouTube channels. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? Here are some reasons why you should hit that subscribe button right now. Firstly, by subscribing, you'll never miss any of my latest videos. I produce new content fairly regularly, and by subscribing, you'll be the first to know when I release a new one. Secondly, subscribing allows you to become part of the My Own Devices community. You'll be able to interact with other viewers who share your interest in all things hi-fi and engage with me directly. Thirdly, subscribing helps to grow this channel. The more subscribers I get, the more new audiences I can reach and produce even better content, even though that's hard to imagine. But it will mean that I can invest in some better gear, collaborate with more manufacturers, and bring you even more engaging and exciting content. And finally, by subscribing, you'll be supporting this small creator who's passionate about music and hi-fi. I put a lot of time and effort to each and every video I make. And by subscribing, you're helping me to continue doing what I love. So don't hesitate, hit that subscribe button now, and help me achieve my goal of global domination through mildly informative and amusing videos. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to enjoy your own devices.